Well, it's another day and we are back, and it is gearbox change time because, well, the gearbox has decided, even though properly filling it up, it is still going to be temperamental between the changes from first to second. The gearbox kind of lunges and clunks a little. It's obviously a whole lot less noticeable when the gearbox is filled, but obviously it still leaks. And the change from second to third is quite labored, where the gearbox seems to hang on to the gear for very long and then change. So we are going with the replacement gearbox here. And I have the service kit already there with all the oils and everything inside. So yeah, that is fantastic news. Only thing is, this is going to be a long, and I mean very long, arduous journey. I've pulled out a gearbox in the salvage BMW that I got that gearbox from obviously before, so I know how to do it, but the only problem now is doing it here and getting the other one in. Granted, this time I do have a gearbox jack, which is very handy for this kind of work, but it is still going to be a very long and arduous journey I'm not looking forward to, but hey, needs must. This car needs to actually work properly to be fully enjoyed, so let's get her up on the ramp and we'll start getting things done slowly. I'll bring you along for the adventure, if I remember to film that much. I'll try my best, but let's get into it. Right, so we're under the 5 Series, got the exhaust, or a section of the exhaust anyway, from here up front, and that brace over there, which then locates itself in this area. The plan is to, well, I've already removed brackets and things that all fit up here. I'll then be able to access the flex disc over there, and then via that little access hole up there, remove the bolts from the torque converter. I've unfortunately managed to snap some T27 bits removing this oil pan, for curiosity's sake, but it's a good thing I did, because my wife was in the area and she managed to give me some new ones, so fantastic. So yeah, the plan is to obviously remove the rest of this heat shielding, then get access to the flex disc up here. There we go. The flex disc up there, and I can remove the drive shaft, and then we'll be able to undo these mounts and drop the gearbox or tilt it back, and it'll get us access to the bolts right at the very top up there, with a very long extension. But yeah, for the most part we're getting there, but I want to just continue pulling this off and then have a look at what we're actually dealing with underneath here. Another little interesting bit of information is the gearbox. I obviously filled it up and made sure it was correctly topped off, and I think overall it was close on 4.5 litres worth of fluid I put into the box, and I've drained the box to see how much was kind of left in it, and not really much. So this is a 6 litre container. I don't know whether you can see down there. Oh, so try and get that. There you go. That's not exactly all the way full. I'd say it's about halfway, maybe a little more than half, but yeah, not exactly much in there. So that definitely means the gearbox is leaking quite a bit, and with it leaking quite a bit, it explains why it decided to shift horribly again. So yeah, so the plan is to just remove these few bolts around here and then slacken these ones off so the pan can tip back, and then hopefully continue draining some more fluid out, and after that then hopefully it'll be fully drained. I'm gonna practice it all on this one before I do it with that box, so that should hopefully help. Well, this is our filter slash pan. Got some residue on the magnets, but not much. And the rest of the box itself is actually looking pretty fine. So consensus is it's probably the solenoids. Well, good morning. It is Sunday, day 2 of this gearbox change on the 5 Series. So, yesterday I got the old box out. It is already gone and shipped off back home. The new replacement box is in place, and I am currently busy putting the torque converter bolts in up there in that tiny little window there, and I've got this piece of paper in here so I can put the bolts in. There we go, you can see one there. See the little guy there? Yeah, him. So I got this wedged inside the box so it doesn't fall down and then into the bell housing and then sit around here somewhere, and then makes it impossible to get out because it sits behind the flywheel there, and it won't fit out that little hole there. Ask me how I know. Well, I'll tell you. It was the bolts when I was taking them out. One of them I tried to get out and it fell down, but thank goodness the old box was coming off, so I decided with the rest I was going to stick this little piece of paper in, and it works beautifully. And the same for putting them back in. But I do have to say, this is horrible trying to access these bolts like this. I have no idea why BMW just didn't put the threads through the other way around, because look at all the space you got here to put a bolt in. Yeah, so if you get it wrong it falls straight out and you can pick it up off the floor, but no, I think the guy who designed this probably didn't like his mother very much, or anyone. What is it with engineers and making things so incredibly hard to work on? I mean, this is a question to all engineers out there. Do you guys just hate everyone that works on the stuff you design, or is it just... Yeah, those are just for some other reasons, because personally I feel attacked every time I have to work on one of these cars. I mean, I'm not saying make it worse, please don't make it worse, because some of the cars now are just ridiculous, so yeah. Well, I'm going to carry on with this and get it all buttoned up and squared away, and then we will drop this gearbox pan to put on the new one into the service, and I think that's along with that. I don't know why I keep saying that. I think it's just me reminding myself to actually record it, because I get stuck in and just working and I forget to record things, so yeah. That light is quite harsh. That's definitely quite harsh. But yeah, let's carry on with this. I've got this weird dirt lines on my forehead now. What is going on here, Wesley? Oh man. Whatever, let's just get into it. I wanted to just also give everyone who's got to do this a little tip. So you see there's obviously the next... Let's try to get you up there sideways. So there's the next hole. And how you know the next hole is accessible is by the little viewing window in the bottom here. You see this little bit here where obviously your next hole is. I say hole, next nut on the flywheel. So the moment you have this visible in this little window here, then you know your next one is visible there. So you're not constantly checking back and forth, back and forth. Just a little tip for anyone changing their gearbox out on a 5 or 3 Series, or at least the automatics anyway, of these 6 HP gearboxes. Just so you know. Can we take a moment to appreciate the amount of extension that you need in order to get to a bolt all the way up there? Yeah. Half inch, reducer, quarter inch, and then an E14 socket on the end. Yeah. About the only way you can really get the bolts in and out if you're working on one of these gearboxes. I've gone ahead and secured all the bolts up top, and as you see the cable is now clipped in place along and plugged in as well, and ready for the little plug that goes there for the little sensor on the exhaust. I've gone ahead and put the coolant transmission cooler lines on. Starter motor secured, and we need to put that into park and get our cable all situated in place. So that'll be the next job, is getting that all in place and getting it bolted up. Well, the drain plug decided it wasn't going to work, so yeah, I tried a whole bunch of things, but it didn't want to come out, so I just had to drill it. And we'll just empty it all out like that. And then I can take all these bolts off, replace the filter. Should probably unbox that new filter. Yeah, put it all back together. I have realized one thing. This is very different to that. So I'm going to have to either change over this arm or change over the shifter cable that came with the other box. Or this box. Because it doesn't match the one on the car. So they must have changed that from 04 to 05 for some reason. I've gone ahead and taken the, as you can see, pan off. The fluid is a bit darker than the other box, obviously, because the other leaked a lot of fluid out, so I had to replace it. So this is probably very original fluid in this box. You could smell it was kind of well used. One good thing about this box compared to the other one is the bolts that secure everything. They are T40s instead of T27s like in the old one, which is very helpful because the T27s, you couldn't apply a lot of torque to them before the bits started snapping. So I actually broke 3 bits trying to get the old pan off. This one came off amazing because you could apply the right amount of torque to it to get things off. So it's good to see that BMW learned from their past mistakes. The only other problem is, yeah, I've got to get the other shifter arm off the other gearbox because, yeah, this is not going to connect to that at all. The other pan, on the other hand, looks good. No horrible metal debris. I mean, obviously there's like a little bit of, you know, material on the magnets like you would expect, but nothing excessive, so, you know, all's good. So now I just got to make sure the surface here is just properly clean, and then we can go ahead and put our new pan on and then get this sucker up into place, and then we can start filling her up and then bolting all the rest of this back on. Oh, so much fun. Remind me next time I say, oh, it's fine, it's just a gearbox job, it won't be that hard. Just remind me, it's an awful job. I have a lot of respect for mechanics that do this day in, day out, because, man, it's hard work. It's really hard work. But we're getting there, so, yay. Ooh, well, we've got our new hardware and filter. Looks so much nicer than the old ones. I mean, new is always better. Unless it's some new cars, because that's just up to personal interpretation. But this, love new parts. Oh, it looks like they stuck with the T40 hardware. That's great news. Nothing worse than them deciding to put something like T27s back. Look at these T27s, I mean, awful. I even had to use a chisel and a hammer. If I can find the ones I need to do that on. No, can't find those ones. Anyway, had to essentially use the chisel and tap it on the side to actually spin it loose, and then the rest of the way take it off. But like I said, that was on the old box, not the new one, so don't worry, the new box, everything came out nicely because we got nice hardware with the much better operated hardware. We're almost there. It is 5 in the evening, so the sun has set about an hour ago already, and everything is all back in place except for that cover there, but everything else is buttoned up. Heat shields, drive shaft, exhaust, brackets, etc, etc, etc. Now I just need to torque this oil pan in a very specific sequence to 10 Newton meters, hence the torque wrench, and we'll go from there. Okay, tightened up, everything else is in place. Now it's time to fill and do the whole fill procedure. So we got to fill her up till it starts to overflow, and then put the plug on, start her up, lift her back up in the air, fill her up again, and yeah, it's a little more complicated than that. There's a whole warm-up procedure thing, but I'll obviously do that and we'll go from there. Hopefully after that everything works like it should. Fingers crossed. Well, you joined me in the studio and it's a few months later, actually. We're actually editing the video right now, as you can see in the background. And I didn't forget. It got late doing the whole warm-up procedure of the box. Everything took forever. And then, yeah, life and other projects kicked in, because, you know me, I don't stay still and only keep one car going, because why would you? So, anyway, the 525 is doing really well. The gearbox transplant went well, apart from one problem, which is the new torque converter, or the replacement torque converter that came with the box, is the problem. It's doing this weird rev bounce thing when you're cruising on the motorway or steadily, but like over 30 mile an hour, you know, up to a speed limit of 70. If you're constantly cruising, or if you let off the accelerator and the RPM drops, where it usually would on an automatic car, it kind of like engages and disengages the torque converter and it just bobs. I reset the gearbox adaptations on the gearbox, which cleaned the shifts up even more, which was great. So yeah, and the car's been running solidly for the last 5 months now, like that. It's actually been Catherine's daily driver now, instead of the blue BMW. So yeah. Then, boy oh boy. Yeah, I've got to actually take that torque converter out. So I got to undo everything, take the box out, blah blah blah, the whole big pain of an install again. Swap the torque converter back to the old one that didn't do this weird bobbing thing, and then we can call the swap done. But I'm not going to include that in the video because you've already seen me do it. So yeah, I'll say the old goal is running well. Very, very quick car, nice torque, comfortable drive, just a few little odds and bits we'll sort out in another video coming up. So just miscellaneous stuff, brakes, suspension stuff, bit of interior work, you know. Last little bits getting it finished up, just so she's done. Not that any project car's ever done, but you know where we're going with this. So yeah, that's that, and I want to thank you guys for tuning in and watching, and if you did like it, drop this video a like, and if you haven't subscribed, consider subscribing if you enjoy the content. I only say that if you ever only enjoy the content, please then consider subscribing. No pressure. Or maybe find another video here that you do. I mean, there's RX-8s and there's super content, so yeah. Till then, you guys stay awesome. I'll see you next time, and wish me luck, because I am not going to enjoy swapping this torque converter ever again. So, yeah. Oh well, bye.